Hello MPPNs, how are you? Hope you are fine. So now it is our study time. Today we are going to study science. The chapter which we were dealing in our previous video was microorganisms. Today we are going to study part 2. I hope you have understood the first part of this chapter, and now we are moving on to the second part. Let us have a look on the contents of this chapter once more. See, today we are going to discuss about these two topics. The first one is uses of microorganisms, and the second one is storage and preservation of microorganisms. Are you ready? Yes, let's move on. Let me once more introduce this chapter to you. The word micro means small. Okay, the word microorganisms is divided into two. First one is micro, second one is organisms. The word micro means small. The study of microorganisms is called microbiology. What do you mean by microbiology? Microbiology is the study of microorganisms. And what do you mean by microorganisms? Microorganisms are the microscopic organisms that are usually not visible to the naked eye. They should be seen through a microscope. The microbes were first seen by Antony von Leeuwenhoek in 1677. The microbes were firstly seen by whom? Antony von Leeuwenhoek in the year 1677 with his own microscope, that is, with the microscope he invented. Okay. Microbes can be large and small in size. The sizes can be varied from small one to large one. The smaller ones are only a few microns or micrometers across. That is 1 micron cut. That is 1 micron is 1 millionth part of a meter. Then secondly, the longer of these can be seen through an ordinary microscope. The smaller ones are only a few microns across, and the longer of these can be seen through an ordinary microscope. Understood? Let's move ahead. Some microbes like fungi and algae can be seen with the naked eye. Some microbes like fungi and algae can be seen with the help of naked eye. They are included in the microbial world, that is, fungi and algae are also included in the category of microorganisms. Why? Because still many species of fungi and algae are microscopic. Okay, let's move ahead. The first part or the first topic which we have to study in this part is uses of microorganisms. First one, medicinal uses of microbes. Microorganisms are very useful for human beings, right? So, first of all, we will study about medicinal uses of microorganisms. Firstly, the metabolic products of one microbe which kill or stop the growth of some other microbes are called antibiotic. What do you mean by antibiotic? The metabolic products of one microbe which kill or stop the growth of some other microbes are called antibiotic. Secondly, some antibiotics are penicillin, streptomycin, tetracycline and gramicidin. First of all, we studied what is antibiotic, and now we have studied the examples of antibiotics. Let us have a look on the pictures. It is penicillin, it is streptomycin, this is tetracycline, and this is gramicidin. Okay, Let's move ahead. Now moving on to the next use, it is commercial uses of microbes. What do you mean by the word commercial? Commercial is a word that is related to cash, that is related to money, to earn money. Okay. Microorganisms produce specific kind of substances. Some of the substances are so useful that they are produced with the help of microorganisms on commercial or large scale, right? See the first use, it is used in the production of antibiotics and vaccines. Okay, antibiotics and vaccines are made from the various fungi and bacteria. Second use, it is used to produce alcohol and wines. Okay, it is used to produce alcohol and wines. The fungus, that is yeast, breaks down the carbohydrate molecules into alcohol and carbon dioxide. The mixture is called wine, while alcohol is distilled form of wine. The mixture is called wine, while alcohol is the distilled form of wine or the purified wine. Okay. Third, it is used to manufacture or to produce vinegar and acetic acid. Vinegar is obtained by fermenting the sugarcane juice. The natural bacteria present in sugarcane grow and produce vinegar. Acetic acid is distilled form of vinegar. What is acetic acid? It is the distilled form of vinegar. Acetic acid is also formed from alcohol by the action of bacteria, that is Acetobacter aceti. Okay. See, this bacteria is responsible to produce vinegar, or we can say that the bacteria that is present in sugar juice produce vinegar. The next use is production of bakery and dairy products. Breads are produced with the help of yeast. Curd and cheese and other milk products are produced with the help of lactobacillus. What is lactobacillus? It is a type of bacteria. Okay. The last use or the last commercial use of microbes is genetic engineering. What do you mean by genetic engineering? I will tell you. Designing of new cells which possess special properties is called genetic engineering. Once more, designing new cells which possess special properties is called genetic engineering. Okay. See, the word genetic means gene, or it is related to DNA. Scientifically, genetic engineering means that designing or change cut. Scientifically, genetic engineering means the change in the DNA or the change in the properties of genes can be termed as genetic engineering. Now you must be thinking about what is DNA and all, right? It is not in your chapter and in this syllabus, so I am leaving that topic. You will study it in the next or higher classes. Okay, so let's continue. Designing new cells which possess special properties is called genetic engineering. Scientists have succeeded in making new bacteria which serve special purposes. For example, bacteria that feed on petroleum oil can be used to clean oil spills from tankers, or that which can make life-saving drugs such as insulin. Scientists are trying to improve the nitrogen fixing capacity in the nitrogen fixing bacteria. What is that? I told you in the first chapter only. Which bacteria is known as the nitrogen fixing bacteria? It is Rhizobium. So scientists are trying to improve the nitrogen fixing capacity in the Rhizobium in legumes so as to increase the yield of plants to meet our growing protein requirements. Okay, understood? Let's move ahead. Now we will study some other uses of microbes. Microbes are effectively used for sewage treatment. Sewage treatment means treatment of dirty water that is used in our households. Okay. Anaerobic bacteria carry out rapid digestion and produce gases like methane. The mixture of gases so produced is the biogas, which is used as fuel. The sludge left after digestion of sewer is rich in nitrogen and is used as manure after drying. Okay. Do you know about the cleaning process of microorganisms in sewage treatment? I will tell you. See, species of Bacillus, Pseudomonas and Proteus are used for this purpose. Which three species of bacteria is used? It is Bacillus, Pseudomonas and Proteus. These bacteria are circulated around sewer in large tanks through which air is pumped. In the presence of sufficient oxygen, the bacteria bring about rapid decomposition of sewage in few hours. This undigested sewer is then transferred to anaerobic digestion tank while anaerobic bacteria stay behind. Here, anaerobic bacteria carry out rapid digestion and produce gases like methane. The mixture of gases so produced is the biogas, which is used as a fuel. Now you understood, I think. Okay, let's move on. Now, microbes in sewage treatment. Treatment of wastewater is done by heterotrophic microbes naturally present in the sewage. Okay. This treatment is carried out in two stages. What are the two stages? First one, primary treatment or physical treatment. Second one, secondary treatment or biological treatment. See, in the diagram you can see sewage treatment. And there are two stages. First one, primary treatment. Second one, secondary treatment. Primary treatment involves physical removal of particles from sewage by filtration and sedimentation. That is why it is known as physical treatment. Okay. Secondary treatment involves aeration, activated sludge and anaerobic sludge digesters. As I told you, the sludge left after digestion of sewer is rich in nitrogen and is used as manure after drying. Okay, let's move ahead. We have completed the first topic of this part. We are moving on to the next topic, that is storage and preservation of microbes. Microbes grow easily on food, paper, cloth, timber or leather in warm and moist atmosphere, right? Drying in the sun is an old method of preserving clothes and food material. Some other methods of preserving materials from the attack of microbes are there. Let us study each one of them in detail. Firstly, chemical methods. The chemical methods that are used by us to prevent the food materials or any preserving materials from the attack of microbes. Treating with insecticides and fungicides. Wood, leather, textile, paper and even grains are treated with chemicals to inhibit the growth of microbes. Okay, that is why we keep naphthalene balls in woolen clothes. Okay, wood, leather, textile, paper, and even grains are treated with chemicals to inhibit the growth of microbes. That is why we keep naphthalene balls in woolen clothes. Okay, now moving on to the second one. What is that? Use of preservatives, that is edible acids and salts. Acids and salts inhibit microbial growth. Acids inactivate enzyme actions of the microbes and thus prevent food from being spoiled. Acidic preservatives such as sodium benzoate or sodium metasulfide are added to jams and squashes. Salts inactivate the microbe cells by drawing water from their cells. That is why adequate amount of common salt is added to pickles. Okay, why adequate amount of common salt is added to pickles? Because salts inactivate the microbe cells by drawing water from their cells. Okay, let's move on. Second, heat and cold treatments. Now we have studied the chemical methods to avoid microbial growth. Secondly, we are going to study heat and cold treatments. It involves boiling. Boiling kills many microorganisms, although not all, particularly those in the form of spores. That is why we boil milk for keeping its quality. Why do we boil milk? Because boiling kills many microorganisms. Sometimes we also boil water before giving it to a sick person, right? Okay, let's move ahead. Second one, low temperature. Low temperatures inactivate the enzymes present in microorganisms so that they are unable to break down food and spoil it. Low temperature also inhibit the growth of cells. Therefore, food is kept in refrigerators. Why? Why the food is kept in refrigerators? The food is kept in refrigerators to prevent it from getting spoiled. Let's move on to the third one. The third one is a new term for you, I think. It is pasteurization. The French scientist named Louis Pasteur discovered that bacteria cause food to decay. He developed a method of preserving food called pasteurization in his honor. This process is mostly applied to milk. Pasteurization is done by first heating the milk to 70 degrees Celsius and maintaining its temperature for a short time and then suddenly chilling it, that is cooling it. Most of the active microbes are killed and souring of milk is prevented. Let's move on to the fourth one. What is that? Cooking without water. Cooking without water preserves food for more time. Pickling of vegetables and fruits is essentially a process of cooking these in oil using heat from the sun or into the oven. Roasting and frying also add to the keeping quality of food. Moving on to the last one, that is canning and bottling. The foodstuff is heated to a high temperature and scaled in airtight and sterilized cans or bottles. See in this picture you can see many food items are stored in cans and bottles to prevent itself from microbial growth. Let's move ahead. The last topic of this part is food poisoning. Some microbes spoil food and produce poisonous substances which, if consumed, lead to illness. It is known as food poisoning. For example, in summer, a food item is kept outside, means outside the fridge, for a long time. Then after some time, when you go there and smell that item or that food item, you will smell it very bad, right? It is because microbes have spoiled the food. So when they spoil the food, they produce or they leave poisonous substances into it. And if by chance the food is consumed by the person, it will lead to illness. Understood? Okay. The microbes may grow in such large numbers as to cause diseases. The microbes may grow in such large numbers as to cause diseases. All these actions lead to food poisoning, which sometimes may lead to even death. Okay, the microbes may grow in such large numbers as to cause diseases. To prevent food poisoning, food must be stored and preserved properly. What is the solution for food poisoning? To prevent food poisoning, food must be stored and preserved properly. See, here are two pictures that shows food poisoning. In the first picture, you can see a spoon full of microorganisms. We are consuming microorganisms and food poisoning happens. And the second picture shows that, see, broccoli. In the broccoli, many organisms, microorganisms are there, which lead to food poisoning. Okay, so we have completed second part of this chapter. Now one more part is remaining for the completion of this chapter. So let us revise what we have learned. These two topics are covered by us in this part. Okay, uses of microorganisms and storage and preservation of microorganisms. There are mainly three types of uses. First one, medicinal use, second, commercial use, and third, for sewage treatment. Okay, in the medicinal uses, we saw the definition of antibiotic and its example. Secondly, commercial uses, we saw production of antibiotics and vaccines, alcohol and wines, production of vinegar and acetic acid, bakery and dairy products, and the last one, genetic engineering. Then the third main use was help in the sewage treatment. Okay. In the second topic, storage and preservation of microorganisms, we studied different methods to prevent our food items or preserving materials from getting spoiled. What were they? Treating with insecticides and fungicides, use of preservatives, boiling, low temperature, pasteurization, cooking without water, canning and bottling, and at last we studied food poisoning, right? So I hope you have understood this chapter very nicely, and if it is not so, you can watch this video again and again till your all doubts get cleared. So stay home, stay safe. Thank you.